Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at the world of Rumi.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this one. The sources you gave me are really fascinating.
Yeah.
You've got Me and Rumi, Rumi's Secret, and the life and work of Jalal Rumi.
Yeah. Should be fun.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. So we're talking about a 13th century poet whose words are still so relevant centuries later.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you think it is about Rumi that keeps people coming back centuries later?
Well, I think part of it is just his life story. It's like an epic poem in itself.
Right.
I mean, imagine fleeing the Mongol invasions as a child with your family.
Wow.
Rumi's Secret really paints a picture of this constant movement across the Silk Road.
Yeah.
And, it really makes you think about those experiences. Like, did those experiences plant the seeds for his ideas
Oh, interesting.
about non-attachment that we see in his poetry?
That's a great question. It
Yeah.
makes me think of the caravanserai image that he uses
Oh,
so much in his poems, This temporary resting place
right.
for travelers.
He's passing through.
It's almost like he's saying our time on Earth is just this this brief stop on a much longer journey.
Exactly. A caravanserai, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's not just the upheaval of his early life either.
Yeah.
Rumi also had this incredible encounter with Ibn Arabi.
Right.
I mean, we don't get a ton of details in the sources we have,
Right.
but Ibn Arabi was this renowned mystic,
Yeah.
known for, complex philosophical and mystical writings.
Right.
So I can't help but think that encounter must have had a profound impact on his development, spiritually.
Oh, okay. So now let's talk about Shams of Tabriz.
Right.
This relationship is just so central to understanding Rumi.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited to hear more about how Me and Rumi actually gives us Shams's perspective
Yeah.
through his writings.
Yeah, it's really cool to be able to read his words directly in the Maqalat.
Right.
It gives us a more direct insight into his personality.
Right.
But the book also paints a picture of someone who's kind of this, revered by Rumi, but seen by others as abrasive or even a misanthrope.
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile those two things?
That's an interesting question, right? I think it just reminds me that people are rarely one-dimensional.
Right.
We're all full of contradictions.
Absolutely.
And the impact we have on others is going to vary based on,
yeah.
their own experiences and perspectives.
Right. It's like a multifaceted gem, right?
Right.
Each facet reflects a different aspect.
Yeah.
And it's only by considering them all that we can appreciate the complexity.
Well said. And speaking of complex, let's talk about Shams's disappearance.
Oh, yeah.
The sources give us a couple different versions
Yeah,
of what
some.
happened,
Right.
but they all agree that it was this major turning point in Rumi's poetry.
Right. The ambiguity is interesting in itself,
Yeah.
but it's crucial to understand that Rumi's poetry went through a radical shift
Yes.
after Shams disappeared. Before Shams, his work was much more scholarly.
Right.
Focused on theology. But after Shams, you see this kind of outpouring of longing, almost a passionate search for spiritual union.
And Rumi's Secret actually connects this transformation to Sama,
Oh, wow.
the Sufi practice of listening to music and poetry, often accompanied by whirling.
Right.
It's almost like Rumi's grief and longing,
yeah.
found an outlet through this really intensely physical and emotional experience.
Powerful stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one poem where Rumi cries out, "Shams of Tabriz is gone, and who for this greatest man among men will weep."
Wow.
Like, you can practically hear the raw emotion in those words.
Right.
It's no wonder his poetry resonated so strongly back then
Yeah.
and continues to resonate today.
Speaking of resonance, I noticed our sources connect Rumi's transformation to the concept of walayat. What stands out to you about that connection?
Well, Wilayat is about spiritual sovereignty, right?
Okay.
But what's fascinating is how Shams interprets it.
Okay.
He argues that true sanctity isn't about, outward piety,
Right.
but about mastering your inner world.
I see.
And you see that reflected in Rumi's poetry.
Yeah.
It's personal.
Yeah.
It's passionate.
Yeah.
And it's full of this yearning.
So it's less about following religious rules and more about this kind of
Yeah.
internal transformation.
It's transforming from the inside out.
Yeah. I can definitely see how that kind of message
Right.
would appeal to people across different cultures and time periods.
Exactly. And it's not just the message itself,
Right.
but the way Rumi expresses it.
Yeah.
He uses this incredibly rich, evocative language
Right.
that speaks to those universal themes, right?
Yeah.
Love, loss, longing, and the search for meaning.
Absolutely.
He doesn't give us easy answers,
You're right.
but he invites us to explore those questions with him.
It's really interesting how Rumi's mystical and poetic language can be understood on all these different levels.
Yeah,
Do you think that's part of why his work has continued to captivate people?
absolutely. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
Yeah.
Have the surface level,
Right.
which is beautiful and moving in itself.
Right.
But the more you delve into his poetry,
Yeah.
the more you discover
Right.
new layers of meaning and new insights into the nature of reality and the human condition.
Yeah. And I think that's a great place to pause for now.
Right.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have.
We've talked about Rumi's early life,
Right.
the impact of Ibn Arabi, his intense connection with Shams,
Yeah.
and how that relationship led to this, profound shift in his poetry.
Totally.
So what do you think? Should we take a deeper dive into Rumi's later life and work?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Awesome. I can't wait.
You too.
We were talking about how Rumi's poetry took on this, new depth and intensity after
Right.
meeting Shams.
Right.
And there's this thread of selflessness that runs through it.
Yeah.
And I'm particularly struck by this story that Shams tells in Me and Rumi,
Okay.
where Muhammad is praying, "Oh God, give me life as an indigent. Give me death as an indigent and muster me among the indigent." And tagged by 20. That's powerful.
It really challenges our ideas about success and fulfillment.
Yeah.
Both Rumi and Shams seem to be suggesting that true spiritual wealth comes from shedding the ego.
Why?
This willingness to embrace humility
Yeah.
and surrender to something larger than ourselves.
It reminds me of that line in Rumi's Secret where Rumi describes himself as thin as a hair during his time with Shams.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying that his sense of self, his ego,
Right.
completely dissolved in this connection.
Yeah. That image beautifully illustrates that Sufi concept of fana,
Oh, right.
the annihilation of the self and the divine presence.
Yeah.
It's a state of complete absorption,
Wow.
where the boundaries between you and everything else just disappear.
And Rumi's Secret doesn't just talk about fauna in the abstract. It describes how Rumi actually lived it.
Oh, yeah.
He was whirling in the streets, composing poetry in a trance-like state.
Really?
It sounds like he was just completely consumed
Yeah.
by this ecstatic experience.
And, his contemporaries were both fascinated and bewildered by this transformation.
Right.
Some saw it as madness.
Right.
Others saw it as a genuine spiritual breakthrough.
Yeah.
It really highlights how true transformation often requires us to step outside societal norms.
Yeah.
Embrace the unconventional.
It makes you wonder if part of Shams's role was to help Rumi break free from the constraints of traditional scholarship and just experience this more direct,
Yeah.
visceral connection with the divine.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
And it raises an important question. If true sanctity lies in this inner transformation,
Right.
what role do outward religious practices play?
Yeah.
How does Rumi reconcile his deep spirituality with Islamic law?
Well, in Me and Rumi, Shams doesn't shy away from challenging those traditional interpretations of religious law.
Really?
He even seems skeptical of those who prioritize outward piety above all else. He asks, "What does talk of the saints have to do with you? What's it to you if I'm a saint or not?"
Wow.
It almost sounds like he's saying, focusing on labels and appearances misses the point entirely.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think this is where Rumi's perspective gets really interesting.
Okay.
He was a scholar of Islamic law,
Right.
deeply familiar with its complexities.
Right.
But his experiences with Shams seem to have led him to a broader understanding of spirituality,
Yeah.
one that recognizes the limitations of a purely legalistic approach.
So it's not about rejecting religious law altogether.
Right.
It's about seeing it as a framework.
Yeah.
A starting point
Right.
for a deeper, more personal experience of the divine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about moving beyond the letter of the law
Right.
to the spirit of the law.
I like that.
True piety for Rumi seems to be less about following the rules
Right.
and more about the transformation of the heart.
And that message feels so relevant today, especially in a world where religious beliefs are often used to divide people.
Absolutely.
Rumi's focus on love, compassion, and inner transformation feels like a powerful antidote to that.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
He reminds us that spirituality is about recognizing the divine spark within ourselves
Yeah.
and seeing that same spark in everyone around us,
Right.
regardless of their beliefs or background.
Now let's talk about Rumi's legacy.
Okay.
The life and work of Jalal Rumi really highlights the impact his poetry has had on Sufi thought and practice
Yeah.
for centuries.
Centuries.
It's amazing to think that he didn't even set out to be a poet.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It says in the book that he initially saw poetry as a distraction
Really?
from his spiritual practice.
Wow.
It was only after meeting Shams,
Right.
after experiencing that profound loss,
Yeah.
that he really embraced it as
Wow.
a way to express what couldn't be said in
Oh,
any other way.
And his Masnavi is a perfect example of that.
Oh, yeah.
Over 25,000 verses.
I don't know.
It's considered one of the greatest works of mystical poetry ever written.
Absolutely.
And it's not just a collection of poems. It's a tapestry of stories, anecdotes, teachings.
It's almost encyclopedic in its scope,
Right.
weaving together Islamic theology, ethics, philosophy, psychology,
Wow.
even insights into the nature of reality itself.
And he didn't shy away from humor either.
No, he didn't.
The life and work of Jalaluddin Rumi points out that he uses satire and wit,
Right?
especially in the Masnavi.
It seems like he understood that humor can be a powerful tool
Yeah.
for challenging rigid thinking
Yeah.
and opening people's minds to new perspectives.
Absolutely.
There's that story in Rumi's Secret where he confronts this group of scholars
Oh, yeah.
who are debating which holy book is superior.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, "You dog! Why is it not the Quran? You ass! Why is it not the Quran? You brother of a whore! Why is it not the Quran?"
Oh, my gosh. And then he goes on to argue that all divinely inspired speech,
Right.
regardless of the source,
Contains the same essential truth.
it's a classic example of his unconventional teaching style.
Right.
He uses shock, humor,
Yeah.
even seemingly irreverent language to
Right.
kind of break through people's preconceptions
Yeah.
and guide them towards a more inclusive understanding of spirituality.
Yeah, it's a reminder that true wisdom often lies in recognizing the interconnectedness of all things,
Right.
rather than clinging to rigid interpretations or dogmas.
And that message of unity and interconnectedness is so central to his work.
Absolutely.
You know, it's woven through his poetry, his teachings,
Yeah.
even his own life story.
It's a testament to the transformative power of love
Yeah.
and the possibility of finding divine truth in the most unexpected places.
And speaking of unexpected, it's amazing how Rumi's popularity has surged in the West.
Right.
In recent decades, it's
Yeah.
not just scholars and spiritual seekers who are drawn to him anymore.
It's true.
You see his quotes everywhere.
Yeah, you do.
On social media, in self-help books, even on coffee mugs. Why do you think his message resonates so deeply with modern audiences?
I think it speaks to a deep yearning for meaning and connection
Yeah.
that so many people feel in our increasingly fragmented and materialistic world.
Right.
Rumi's poetry offers a sense of hope.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds us that there's more to life than what we can see and touch.
Yeah.
There's a deeper reality waiting to be discovered.
It's like his poetry provides a balm for the soul.
Yeah.
You know, a reminder that we're not alone in our search for meaning.
It connects us to this long lineage of spiritual seekers
Yeah.
who have wrestled with the same questions
Yeah.
and found solace in their connection to the divine.
And in an age marked by anxiety and uncertainty,
Right.
his poetry provides a sense of grounding.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even amidst all the chaos and constant change,
Right.
there's a deeper truth that remains constant.
Absolutely.
It's not just his beautiful language or his insightful teachings that draw people in. It's also the way he embodies a lived spirituality, a life truly transformed by love and the pursuit of divine truth.
Precisely. Rumi's not just a poet or scholar. He's like a beacon of hope,
Right.
a living example of the transformative power of spirituality.
And those anecdotes in Rumi's Secret about his unconventional behavior,
Oh, yeah.
you know, like praying on his rooftop until dawn
Wow.
or preaching to a pack of wild dogs.
Right.
Like, they really capture the essence of his eccentric yet deeply spiritual personality.
Yeah, it's like he saw the divine reflected in everything around him.
Right.
From the stars in the sky to
Yeah.
the creatures of the earth.
It's a beautiful vision of unity
Yes.
that encompasses not just human beings, but all living things.
And it's a vision that feels incredibly relevant today
Yeah.
as we face this growing ecological crisis.
Absolutely.
You know, Rumi reminds us of our responsibility to care for the planet,
Right.
to live in harmony with nature.
It's not just about appreciating nature's beauty or conserving resources.
Right.
It's about recognizing the inherent sacredness of all creation.
That's right. It's a powerful perspective shift
Yeah.
that could radically change our relationship with the planet.
It's about moving beyond a purely utilitarian view of nature
Yeah.
and embracing its intrinsic value
Right.
and our interconnectedness with the web of life.
Exactly. It's a call to action,
Yeah,
reminding us that caring for the planet isn't just a matter of policy or technology,
right.
but a spiritual imperative.
Yeah.
It's about aligning ourselves with the divine harmony
Yeah.
that permeates all creation.
This brings to mind Rumi's own political role,
Oh, yeah.
which Rumi's secret touches upon.
Right.
He navigated the complexities of court life,
He did?
interacting with Seljuk sultans and emissaries,
Wow.
all while remaining committed to his spiritual path.
Right.
How do you make sense of that?
It's fascinating to see how he balanced those seemingly disparate worlds,
Yeah.
offering spiritual guidance to those in power,
Yeah.
while staying true to his own unconventional path.
Yeah.
It really highlights how spirituality can inform our engagement with the world.
It's a reminder that we can strive to act with compassion, integrity,
Yeah.
and a sense of interconnectedness,
Yeah.
even in positions of power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not about withdrawing from the world
Right.
or rejecting positions of influence,
Right.
but about bringing our spiritual values into those spaces
Yes.
and working towards a more just and harmonious society.
This deep dive has been incredible.
Thanks.
We've uncovered so many layers of Rumi's life and work,
Yeah, we have.
from his profound relationship with Shams
Right.
to his insights into selflessness and his enduring legacy.
It's amazing how, even though he lived centuries ago,
I know.
his message feels so incredibly timely.
It
He
does.
speaks to the core of human experience,
Right.
offering guidance and inspiration for those seeking meaning, connection, and transformation.
The life and work of Jalaluddin Rumi describes him as the greatest mystical poet of any age, highlighting his ability to capture the panorama of universal existence in his poetry.
It's a beautiful description.
From the finite to the infinite.
It really captures the essence of his work.
Yeah.
His poetry is a bridge between the seen and the unseen,
Yeah.
the earthly and the divine.
Beautiful.
He invites us to expand our awareness,
Yeah.
recognize the interconnectedness of all things,
Yeah.
and embark on our own journey of spiritual discovery.
And he reminds us that the journey itself is the destination.
Right.
It's about embracing the process, the
Yeah.
ups and downs, the moments of darkness and illumination
The full spectrum.
that make up a truly authentic life.
Exactly. Allowing ourselves to be transformed by love,
Right.
by loss,
Yeah.
by the full spectrum of human experience.
What stands out to you about his exploration of the nature of reality?
Well, in Me and Rumi, Shams talks about a world from the he, different from and not similar to this happiness and unhappiness. And this idea of a reality beyond our everyday perception, a reality infused with divine presence.
Yeah.
It's a constant theme in Rumi's work.
I've noticed that he uses that phrase from the he quite a bit.
Yeah.
What exactly does he mean by that?
I think it points to a realm beyond duality,
Okay.
beyond our limited human understanding
Yeah.
of good and bad, right and wrong.
Okay.
It's the realm of pure being,
I see.
of divine essence,
Okay.
where all distinctions dissolve and we experience a profound sense of unity and interconnectedness.
It's as if he's saying that there's a deeper reality operating beneath the surface of our everyday experiences.
Right.
A reality that we can only glimpse through intuition, through mystical insight,
Yeah,
through moments of transcendence.
absolutely.
And that brings us back to his central message,
Okay.
love as the driving force of creation, the path toward transformation,
Yeah.
and the ultimate source of unity.
For Rumi, love is not just a human emotion,
Right.
but a cosmic principle. The energy that binds the universe together.
Yeah.
The force that draws us toward wholeness and integration.
And he expresses this love with such passionate, evocative language.
Oh, he does.
He often uses the imagery of romantic poetry to convey the intensity of the soul's yearning
Right.
for union with the divine.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it might seem unconventional
That
to
is-
use romantic imagery in a religious context,
Right.
but when you think about the transformative power of love
Yeah.
to dissolve boundaries and create this sense of oneness,
It makes sense.
yeah, it starts to make sense. It's
Yeah.
like he's saying that the language of the heart, with
Right.
its capacity for deep longing and profound joy,
Yeah.
is the most authentic way to express the inexpressible, the
Beautiful.
profound mystery of our connection to the divine.
And that message transcends religious boundaries.
Yeah.
It speaks to a universal human experience.
Right.
The yearning for connection, the
Yeah.
search for meaning,
Yeah.
the striving for a greater sense of wholeness.
Absolutely. And in a world so often divided by ideology, religion, nationality.
I know.
Rumi's message of unity of love as the ultimate bridge
Yeah.
between hearts and souls feels so incredibly timely and hopeful.
It's a powerful reminder that at our core, we are all connected,
Yeah.
all part of the same divine fabric.
Yes.
Love is the thread that weaves us together,
Right.
the force that can heal our divisions and guide us towards a more harmonious future.
This deep dive into Rumi's world has been truly enriching.
It has.
You know, his poetry has ignited my imagination, challenged my assumptions.
It's been a privilege to explore his work with you and our listener.
Yeah.
And we encourage you to continue exploring Rumi's poetry,
Yeah.
to return to it again and again.
Yes.
Let his words guide you, inspire you,
Absolutely.
and remind you of the transformative power of love, the beauty of unity,
Yeah.
and the profound mystery of our connection to something greater than ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, I want to leave our listener with one final thought from Shams and me and Rumi.
Okay.
He says, "Let me trouble you for another 2 or 3 days. In the book of my life, there's only 1 page left."
Wow.
Like, it's a beautiful reminder of how precious time is.
It is.
It encourages us to live fully, embracing each moment as an opportunity for growth, connection, and love.
What a perfect sentiment.
Yeah.
May Rumi's words continue to illuminate your path
Yeah.
and guide you towards a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Rumi.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring,
Keep whirling.
and keep loving. You know, we've been talking about the power of Rumi's message and how it just like transcends time and culture.
Right.
But I'm also struck by how he uses symbolism and metaphor
Yeah,
to express these like profound spiritual truths.
absolutely.
His poetry is just full of vivid imagery,
Right.
drawing on nature, music, everyday life to point us towards a deeper understanding of reality. One image that keeps coming up is the concept of whirling.
Oh, yeah.
Rumi's Secret talks about how he would often whirl in this like trance-like state,
Right.
and this practice became a powerful metaphor in his poetry.
Yeah, for the soul's journey towards union with the divine.
When I picture the whirling dervishes,
Right.
their bodies spinning in circles, arms outstretched,
Yeah.
it does evoke this feeling of reaching for something beyond the material world.
Exactly. Rumi connects that physical whirling to the inner whirling of the soul.
Yeah.
It's a process of shedding ego and attachments,
Right.
surrendering to something larger,
Right.
and ultimately experiencing oneness with the source of all being.
He uses other metaphors as well, like the flute.
Oh,
It features so prominently in his work,
Yes.
particularly in those opening lines of the Masnavi,
Right.
which, you know, for our listeners, this vast collection of over 25,000 verses
Wow.
and is considered one of the greatest works of mystical poetry ever written.
Yeah. Why do you think he chose the flute?
Yeah, like why the flute?
Well, Rumi describes the reed flute as this symbol of the soul separated from its source,
Right.
longing to return.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful metaphor for the human experience of separation,
Right.
our yearning for unity.
Yeah. There's that poignant line in Rumi's Secret.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to the reed flute, how it is complaining, telling a tale of separations.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me think that our hearts are like flutes,
Yeah.
longing to sing our song of longing and return to our true home.
That imagery is so powerful.
It is. It makes me wonder,
Yeah.
if the flute represents the soul,
Okay.
then what does the music represent?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think the music could represent the divine love
Oh.
that draws us back to our source.
Okay.
It's the force that inspires our longing and guides us on our journey home.
Right.
And just as the flute must be hollowed out and pierced to create music,
Oh, wow.
Rumi suggests that our own experiences of loss, heartbreak, and pain
Yeah.
can open us up to the divine.
So it's through our wounds that we become more receptive to divine love. It's a profound and somewhat comforting thought.
It is comforting. Yeah.
Rumi reminds us that even in our suffering,
Yeah.
there's meaning and purpose.
It can be a catalyst for growth.
Right.
Lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves
Yeah.
and our connection to the divine.
You mentioned earlier that Rumi's poetry explores the nature of reality.
Right.
I'm curious to hear more about how he approaches that topic.
Well, in Me and Rumi, there's this passage where Shams talks about
Okay.
a world from the he, different from and not similar to this happiness and unhappiness. This idea of a reality beyond our everyday perception,
Yeah.
a reality infused with divine presence,
Yeah.
is key to understanding Rumi's work.
He uses that phrase from the he quite a bit.
He does,
What
yeah.
does he mean by that exactly?
From the he points to a realm beyond duality,
Okay.
beyond our limited human understanding of good and bad, right and wrong.
So a realm of pure being,
Yeah.
of divine essence.
Where all distinctions dissolve and we experience a profound sense of unity
Wow.
and interconnectedness.
So is he saying there's like a deeper reality operating beneath the surface
Yes.
of our everyday experiences?
Exactly.
A reality that we can only glimpse, through intuition, through mystical insight?
Through moments of transcendence.
And that brings us full circle back to Rumi's core message of love.
Love.
For him, it's not just a human emotion.
Right.
It's this cosmic principle.
Right.
The energy that binds the universe together.
Yeah.
Draws us toward wholeness and integration.
Now, the way he describes this love, it's so passionate
Yeah.
and evocative.
He uses the language of romantic poetry to convey the intensity of the soul's yearning for union with the divine.
It might seem unconventional to use romantic imagery in a religious context.
Yeah.
But when you think about the transformative power of love, to dissolve boundaries and create this sense of oneness, it starts to make sense.
It does, yeah.
Rumi seems to be saying that the language of the heart, with its capacity for deep longing and profound joy, is the most authentic way to express the inexpressible, to speak of our connection to the divine.
And his message resonates far beyond any specific religion or culture.
It does.
It speaks to a universal longing for connection, for meaning, for a sense of wholeness.
In a world so often divided by ideology, religion, nationality,
Right.
Rumi's vision of unity feels incredibly relevant and hopeful.
It's a powerful reminder that beneath the surface we're all connected, all part of the same divine fabric.
Love is the thread that weaves us together.
Right.
The force that can heal our divisions and lead us towards a more harmonious future.
This deep dive has been such a gift.
It has.
Rumi's poetry has sparked something in me.
Oh, good.
A sense of wonder and possibility.
It's been a true pleasure exploring his work with you and our listener.
Yeah, absolutely.
We encourage you to keep exploring Rumi's poetry. Let his words be your guide, your inspiration.
Yes.
Your reminder of the transformative power of love, the beauty of unity, and the profound mystery of our connection to something greater than ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, I want to leave our listener with one final thought
Okay.
from Shams in Me and Rumi.
Okay.
He says, "Let me trouble you for another 2 or 3 days. In the book of my life, there's only 1 page left."
Wow.
It's such a beautiful reminder of how precious time is.
Yeah.
And it encourages us to live fully, embracing each moment as an opportunity for growth, connection, and love.
What a perfect sentiment.
Yeah.
May Rumi's words continue to illuminate your path
Absolutely.
and guide you towards a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Rumi.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep loving.